It was the most immaculate play you've ever watched live from the player we've all wanted to appreciate all season. Not only is it taken away, it's like the negative. It was like stolen from you through a thing you've never even heard of before. Welcome back to the ANF Podcast, where we cover Iowa sports.
We're going to instantaneously cover the Cooper Dejean callback punt return because I think that's what most people want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about the other dismal stats associated with this. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, we're just going to break into our breakdown and why it was a bullshit call.
I think the first perspective you need to take is Cooper Dejean's perspective. We've actually seen him deploy the exact same movement in other games. Against Penn State, he did the exact same thing where actually he's on the muff punt of all things. He deploys both arms out in a point of where the ball is going. He's trying to give a direction to his gunners, and he's screaming poison repeater, which is allowed. Both those things are coached up by LeVar, the best special teams coordinator in the country, and it was repeated on the NBC broadcast that you can point, and the refs break it down before the game, each game, that you can always point.
Yeah,
you can scream. You can have a megaphone out there yelling Peter. It's not going to kill the ball.
No.
That's a misstatement.
And I think just to give some deference to the refs, because I think it's clear there's been some arguments about what play they're reviewing. I think it's clear everyone in the building knew they were reviewing if he was stepping out originally. Yeah. That was what was called in. I thought it was like, I looked at you, I'm like, I think he might have stepped out. Mm-hmm. So then they go to the review. Sad part is we lived the punt. We lived the punt return. One of the best plays ever in Kinnick. Mm-hmm. You relive even the return video where you see him not step out and you celebrate again.
Right.
And you think there's no way that it's getting called back.
Yeah. But here's why I got called back.
Yes.
And it's, from my perspective, Cooper's movements were not him waving, as the ref saw from the above angle.
Which is, we'll give him credit.
It does look like a wave.
Yes.
But from what I see, and you can rewatch the clip with this in mind.
Yeah.
I see a guy with both hands out trying to signal to his team legally. But if you are running and you're sprinting, you're trying to keep your balance. Generally, when you run, you pump your arm. Trying to pump your arm to gain momentum to motor yourself, to keep balance. I see him doing this, where he's waving to the left to motor himself and to keep balance as he runs. And it happens as the ball's kicked, it's a second after, and it lasts a half second to a second long. It's this movement. It's not, and that's key. It's this movement. What an invalid fair catch rule is trying to stop. What the purpose of it is trying to eliminate an invalid fair catch where you are actually doing a half-ass fair catch, with your hands not above your head.
Like instantaneously before you get hit.
Right. So if you do one of these and you get tattooed by a player, that's an invalid fair catch. It's not a 15-yard penalty. That's what they're trying to eliminate. Yeah. They're also trying to eliminate this wave, the getaway wave. Get away from the ball. It's rolling. Nobody touch it.
You see a lot of teams utilize this.
Right. And that would kill the play.
Yes.
There's the Minnesota versus Eastern Michigan play. It's this.
Yeah.
The last second wave.
The Wisconsin Northwestern one.
It's this.
And that's,
so
again, the reason they're employing both of those is it's trying to prevent a disadvantage to the defense.
Right.
Given the signals they're getting.
Yep.
In this scenario, no one on Minnesota's team thought that Cooper Dejean was calling a fair catch. Mm-hmm. They could have interpreted, hey, get away.
Yeah.
But it wasn't usually when you see this play called, the only other time I've seen it called was when the ball is rolling at a guy and he's waving it away and the defense stops playing.
Right.
If you can go back and watch this again, the long snapper is never obstructed. He is, from the minute the ball is punted, he is sprinting at Cooper. He sees this invalid fair catch signal. Once the ball hits the ground and Cooper goes to play it, he goes to make a tackle on Cooper.
Instantly.
Because he never assumed or that the play was dead in any sense. And again, we're making two different arguments here. We're saying he was
waving.
But
it's not the wave you're trying to stop.
No.
It's actually not, in my opinion, this is a wave.
Yeah.
This is a wave. One arm moving to your side like that is not the wave you're trying to stop. There's no, the movement is not a natural movement that looks like anything.
Yes.
You know, it happens in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And the key thing is it happens, what the context that's lost on that shot when it's above and it's in slow motion is how quick he does it. It's not very pronounced.
No.
It's not a very obvious thing to anyone on the field or to the refs behind it. That's why it wasn't called and no one stopped playing. And it happens as the ball's kicked.
Yeah.
Ball goes up in the air and it's like a second after it happens. So it's not like it's not like that movement occurred as the ball is falling down. Everyone knows where the ball is and they can see the ball and him at the same time and they see this movement. I would bet maybe a player saw the movement on the field.
Yeah.
Right? Of all things considered, They're trying to find the ball. They're trying to run downfield. Who's even got, other than the long snapper, who has even eyes on him at that moment?
Well,
and so that's what,
and
you
another,
lose the
the other
context
aspect of it too is every ref is looking at him too on this punt.
Right.
Like they're all looking for a fair catch.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, we were going to go back and look at it." You guys weren't going back and look.
You got buzzed in.
You got buzzed in while you were looking at whether he stepped out or not. That's when you were notified there could be a fair catch.
No one, not one ref
it's
was
just
like
so clear.
Yeah.
That no one it's a judgment call, and this is not what they're trying to prevent.
Right.
They're trying to prevent, as we've said a million times, they're trying to prevent the double arm.
Yeah.
As the ball is rolling to you,
or even if it's coming in, you can't do it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's rolling or not. If you just don't do that.
Yes.
But a guy running and doing that for a second,
yes,
when the ball's not even coming towards him,
yes,
that's not what you're trying to stop.
And all of that, even if that was called live, I could see if it was called live.
Right.
Sure, maybe.
A ref, I bet it didn't even cross the ref's mind.
Of course it didn't. It never crossed. You see refs not make that call all the time. Again, because it goes into intent.
Yeah.
Because when you see a guy obviously just trying to get his teammates away from it, he's not trying to gain an advantage. He's trying to call out to his teammates and then grab the ball.
Right.
And that's like they've had to bleed into this lower wave being eliminated because it can be semi-interpreted as a fair catch.
Right.
But it's not.
It'd be a disadvantage too.
You have to have a disadvantage to the team.
This caused no
And
disadvantage.
if you saw every Minnesota player stop,
right.
If you saw a player who's going to make a play stop and not make the play,
or a guy after the play raise his hands up like, what the hell was that?
No, they all said, "Oh shit, we made a giant mistake."
Right. We were at the 50-yard line, 20 rows up. We had a perfect view of it.
Yeah.
The play happened. Not one Minnesota coach went up to a ref. Not one Minnesota player was complaining. They all stood there in shock.
Yeah.
They were befuddled that they let him get out of that.
Yes.
And they anticipated the ball to go out of bounds too. That's why they all broke down. They had no idea what the ball was, so that's why they all broke down.
Yes.
So I think we've done enough on it.
I've spent the last 48 hours thinking about it nonstop, about how big of a robbery it was. And people saying you can isolate, yes, one view. And we're saying, yes, we get where the guy could potentially consider that a wave.
He has a horrible view of it because it's just this for a second, and it looks maybe like it was like this.
From the sky view, you could see his hand going laterally.
From the the field view, which you get from the end zone, which really drove me crazy from Sunday morning. We saw it.
Yeah.
The field view, it's this.
Yeah.
It's not this or like this. It's this.
Yes.
And that is important.
To take a touchdown off the board.
Right.
You can't draw up
what it actually why fans are so sad, it takes a memory away.
Yeah.
Like as an Iowa fan, like the Kinnick celebration post that you were hugging like random fans for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You had it was the most immaculate play you've ever watched live.
Yes.
From the player we've all wanted to appreciate all season. And it not only is it taken away, it's like the negative.
Yeah.
It was like stolen from you through a thing you've never even heard of before.
Yeah.
And now we're all experts on it 2 days later, and Iowa fans still can't, even grasp the concept of how BS it was.
At best, it's put like a 25% chance you call it.
Right. And it has to be, in that point, as a review, it has to be conclusive that it was a wave.
But again, I just keep going back to it's like, yes, it's a semi-wave, but again, that's not what they're trying to prevent.
Right.
He didn't gain an advantage from it. No one played it like it was a fair catch.
Right.
So yes, you could have that tiny rule where it says no waving below your shoulder.
Yeah.
Invalid fair catch. But then you just ignore what the rule was there for.
Yeah.
It's to stop disadvantaging the defense.
Yeah.
No, the defense wasn't disadvantaged at all.
Yeah. All right. Now it's time to talk about the horrible performance of our offense.
Yes.
And I think that's maybe it led into even more of this. Like,
yes.
You had to watch an anemic offense that called you right back to the Michigan State game. It called you right back to moments of the Wisconsin game and Purdue game and the last 20 years under Ferentz. But this one was particularly bad because we just complimented Brian of his performance at Wisconsin because he handed the ball off 40 times. And now you go into this game with actually probably an equal to lesser defense anticipated. They actually kind of played it better than Wisconsin did. I'd say their front seven played better than Wisconsin.
Their defense was more well designed to stop a heavy front.
Right.
The way their safeties filled, you saw it all day. Well designed.
But Brian just completely abandoned the strength of our team.
The only remaining strength.
The only remaining strength. I wouldn't even categorize our run game as a strength.
No.
But it's the option on offense.
Yeah.
And he chose to throw the ball over 30 times. Obviously, I think Deacon had 28 attempts, and he got sacked multiple times. So it was over 30.
Yeah.
And the running backs touched the ball 20 times. Caleb Johnson had the ball 6 times. And we gave the ball to our receivers and our tight end and our quarterback that many times. It wasn't a
I could see how I could see how it played out.
Mm-hmm.
But especially after that initial Deacon fumble. So Deacon had 2 fumbles. Both times was times he was holding the ball and he got stripped by guys he actually saw.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost an unforgivable moment for a QB.
Right.
Both times it was guys blitzing at him who he tried to make a move on
right.
while
was actually
not securing the ball.
The first sack wasn't even a blitz.
Yeah, it was a
delayed. Linebackers like, I'm guarding nobody. Let me just run out the QB.
Yeah.
He had 10 seconds in the pocket.
Yeah. And in both those moments, ball security has to be at the paramount. If it's a blindside swat away,
right,
sure.
No blame.
No blame. But 2 of them,
yeah.
And the next one, the last one led to them going to 10-9. As sad as it sounds, if you punt that ball away 10-6 and you get a stop on that possession, you're at least putting the game in the hands of the defense again.
Right.
And you have a chance and you don't have to worry about the game-winning drive.
That's what the mindset of embracing this style that, like, nothing's going to change for this offense this year.
Well, I think we knew going into, like, we reiterated this a million times going into the game. It's going to be a bounces game. Mm-hmm. You can't turn the ball over. Yeah. Offense is not going to operate on schedule.
You're going to need short
We're going to
fields.
allow for an offense to sometimes make some plays against us just by how passive we play. Mm-hmm. It was going to take, kind of some lucky bounces.
Yeah.
And what at the forefront of that is just you can't turn the ball over, especially in preventable situations.
Right. And I'm just going to go back to even just the breakdown of play calling. Like, being in the stands that day, we would get 4 yards on a rush, and we would just whisper to each other, run the ball again.
Yeah.
You're 2nd and 6. I felt like it happened at least 5 times that game.
It also happened where they would throw on first down for 4 or 5 yards and then try and throw again.
Right.
And it's just like, man, take the body blows.
And we had no creativity in our shotgun game. We didn't run the ball out of shotgun one time.
Yeah.
It felt like Brian lost confidence all of a sudden, like being in front of the home crowd again. And the flow of the game, he just reverted back to
trying to put more of a show on, honestly.
I think he's always, against Rossi, he's always had an inkling to throw more.
Yeah, he has.
Dating back to 2019. 2020, we ran the ball like Will, but 2021 and 2022, we kind of threw more than we generally would.
Threw more successfully, too.
Right. I think he sees that as the way this team's coach is that it plays run faster. But, all right, I get that your general idea of the weakness of this team is the passing attack or their passing coverage based on their personnel. But actually, the true strength of their team is Newman and Wally. Yeah. And the true strength of our team is our 3 running backs and our offensive line.
Yeah.
You're taking the ball out of the 8 best players on our team and our 3 running backs and our 5 offensive linemen, and you're giving it to the guys that aren't at this level.
Yeah.
And we saw it. We saw DQ would miss a throw, he'd fumble. We saw receivers drop passes. We'd see tight ends not get open. And it always was something. Because guess what? You're giving the ball to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I don't care if that defense is built to stop that. You found success against Wisconsin because you actually just trusted the run game. And those body blows came in late. And we didn't have the body blows late in this game. And
that's what's also frustrating from this perspective, too, is you took the early lead, through a kind of a BS PI, and even a face mess that bailed you out on a 3rd down that you were for some reason throwing the ball on a 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
And then your QB.
I don't know if it's 3rd.
It was maybe it was 3rd and 4, but still,
yeah.
Like you could have ran it twice to get a first down there.
Yeah.
But once you got the 7-point lead, like you figured at that point, just seeing how Minnesota operated, you probably knew they weren't going to get in the end zone, barring a turnover at the 10-yard line, which you still gave them,
and they still didn't get in.
Because their receivers just aren't that talented, and you were winning the battle up front.
Right.
So why not take from that moment, that 10-3 lead? Why not take that moment forward to say, okay, we're going to just punch you in the mouth 25 times between now and midway through the 4th, and then when you get to that 4th quarter, you would have worn them out,
right? And
you could have gone to the run.
Right.
And I think what was just most nauseating part about it is even after the punt return was called back and, people were chucking beer cans onto the field and like it was chaotic environment. You were still at the 46th with a minute and a half left in the timeout. Yeah. I understand that you want to give your offense an ability to get as far down the field as possible, but also understand how poor your offense had played that half.
Yeah.
You're 15 yards away from putting Stevens in relative 55, 56 yard.
You're one good run away. You're one good pass.
You're one good run.
Yep.
First down, just get into a manageable situation. Go into a hurry up. You were going to get a good look on that first down run. Instead, you take a sack.
Yep.
And putting Deacon into a scenario where he's going to have to be playing a defense that knows he's passing against pass rushers that know he's passing, and you don't have good receivers, and he's been erratic throwing the ball. How did you think that was going to go?
Yeah.
That's where, like, we talk so much about how conservative pays off for Ferentz. When he had the opportunity to be conservative this whole game, follow almost identical playbook to Wisconsin,
Right.
he went the opposite way.
Right.
And Brian just baffles me over and over again with this.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you were going to be aggressive, have some creative calls then. There was not a single creative call all day. And he talked about it early. Minnesota is a reactive defense. They can be tricked. And we didn't see it. We didn't see even an attempt to.
Yeah. Well, I think we can wrap up the offense conversation with just, if there was ever a moment to switch QBs, what a moment. You have your opportunity now to, you have a bye week. Obviously, Joe's had previous experience. He had all bowl prep last year, get ready. I think every single program in the country, I really mean this, every single program in the country with the QB play they've just watched.
For 3 consecutive games too.
4. It's okay.
Yeah.
He's not taking care of the ball. If he didn't fumble, if he got sacked on those 2 plays, I get it.
Yeah.
He hasn't thrown the pick yet. He did throw the pick, but it was, but if he was taking care of the ball, I get you rely on the big arm because the defense can't pick it off.
Yeah.
But he's taking chances. He damn near lost the game even before then on the 3rd and 18.
Yeah.
When he threw it into 4 coverage, like
he's not a good decision maker.
Yeah.
And that's when you have a guy who's not playing very well and then is also making poor decisions on top of it.
Right.
You could see a realm. It's like we saw it with Labus in the bowl game. Develop a gimmicky running QB offense.
Right.
It's not your style. It doesn't fit your style at all. It doesn't fit your personnel very well. But at least he gives you a chance to get some first downs. At this point, what this team needs is just first downs.
It just needs first downs.
It doesn't need 60-yard touchdowns.
No.
It needs to
Doesn't need to
be
go
able to
90
get
yards.
to the 50-yard line and punt it deep,
Yeah.
and then play it out from there.
Right.
And you're going to win games 10-7, but
and
just give yourself a better chance.
And it's just give a guy who has a chance to gain some confidence.
Yeah.
Like, I think Deacon at this point is probably devoid of confidence.
Yeah.
And it's going to come and go. It's going to vary. He might throw one good pass in the first quarter, but any moment where he has a negative negative play,
Yep.
all those doubts will come creeping back in instantly. It's not like he's developed this base of confidence.
Yep.
Like Joe's gonna have a kind of a empty cupboard of like,
yeah,
I don't know what I could do.
Yeah.
I won my last game, and I think that's what you just need to step into and like just admit you were wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's what it just comes down to. Other programs admit when they're wrong on personnel decisions, on coaching, hires, on other stuff. Just admit you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
don't be so stubborn.
You picked the wrong QB.
Yeah.
We are happy to announce a new sponsor for the ANF Podcast. The ANF Podcast is sponsored by Eye Surgeons Associates, proudly serving Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois for all your eye care needs for over 40 years.
Well, I think we can just do a quick recap of the defense. This shouldn't take longer, like 2 minutes to go through.
Yeah.
Minnesota had minor success within the run game. We expected it. They have good backs, a good system. Saw the opposite pitch play work well for us.
Yep, which is generally they're running the inside zone or outside zone with the running back on the right side or left side going the opposite way. And something they've deployed really consistently over.
They stole it from Penn State.
Yeah, under Saquon. Yeah. But it's actually just a counter to the inside zone where you're actually pitching out opposite.
Yeah.
So generally defensive lines would slant to that side, but then you pitch it opposite and they actually have heavy sets. They have 2 tight ends generally on that side. Mm-hmm. So defense is going, this ball's going, this going left. And they can instantly counter it and get a numbers advantage, you get a slant advantage, and just a confusion advantage generally. And then it's hard to stop.
If you overact coming over the top, we saw a cutback on the back side of it. Right. It's a really good counter. Something we should employ. We try to employ. We can't
teach
it the same
it.
way.
Yeah, we can't teach it.
Another thing they did well on offense was calling BS on our pass rush.
Yep.
Just going max protect and run these super long crossers. Mm-hmm. It's something we're going to need to find a way to counter because you just can't put your corners, no matter how good they are and how the receivers aren't that good. I mean, Daniel Jackson's a good player.
He's a good player.
But he's not fast.
Yeah.
Like his only advantage is a 25-yard looping cross. That was really their only way they generate offense was that play.
Well, actually, they consistently just played a one-on-one game.
Yeah.
They said, we're going to max protect, we're going to play one-on-one versus Jamari.
Yeah.
That was the idea of every play. And it was working all game. The issue was Athan couldn't complete a pass.
Yeah.
On 2nd and 7s, 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 15s, they did hit one. but they're just going to play a one-on-one game with Daniel Jackson or any of their receivers against Jamari. They're going to max protect and make it only about that matchup. And it was a great idea. They had success getting guys open. Their quarterback couldn't complete the pass.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's something that we'll, like after, because we've been putting, like we mentioned, we put the pressure on the cornerbacks now. We're putting them at 2.5 yards. And we're saying these are our best players. Minnesota is the first team to embrace attacking that in this way.
Yeah.
And they had the most
I would say that Purdue did too, just not in a crossing pad or drag format, more just attacking it deep.
Right. But not even the comeback routes too was
Yeah.
kind of new. That was something I haven't seen of like a 15-yard dig where this guy's, he's pressing your corner and the corner's going like, I'm on a freaking island right now.
Yeah.
I got crosser, I got deep shot. This guy's, in my hip. We're equal right now. I would rather have him drop 10 yards and get a curl.
Yeah.
And it played like that even against Cooper a few times.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see that going forward.
Yeah, and this will be the end of the episode. We're going to actually just wait till next episode to cover the preview of the Northwestern game. But this has been, the last 2 seasons have just been peaks and valleys.
Yep. And 2021, beat Penn State. Next week, lose to Purdue.
Yep.
Last year, you beat Minnesota.
If you would have said also, just we can't be a prisoner of the moment.
Yep.
Horrible moment for Iowa football. But after Wisconsin in 2021, if you would have said that we would go on to win a Big Ten title or Big Ten West title,
Go 10-2.
even after you lost to Illinois last year,
Mm-hmm.
would you say, oh, you're going to be in competition in the last week for? A lot of crazy stuff can happen. As long as chalk happens outside of our team,
Yep.
you're still 4 games away.
You still control your own destiny.
Yep.
Like,
Effectively,
truly.
you do.
Yeah. Minnesota has to go to Ohio State. Wisconsin has Ohio State this weekend. If Ohio State takes care of business in both games, you still control your own destiny.
I just can't think of a worse scenario than having to watch this offense play 4 more impactful games, and you're just going to need magic to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to get suddenly better.
Well, you're actually playing. You're going to a defensive stretch here.
Yeah.
Nebraska's a good defense.
Rutgers is good.
Rutgers a good defense. Northwestern, not a good defense, but we'll make them look good.
Yeah.
And then the Illini, like
They have the
Newton's
bodies.
starting to play well.
Yeah.
And they're going to push our buttons.
Yep. Oh, it's going to be brutal. All right.
All right.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.